And the whole story even becomes more ridiculous when we start defining what we experience. Like this bell. Is it a big bell or is it a small bell? I mean, most people will say this is a small bell, and then they'll compare it to, the bigger bells which are probably around in the world in rather big majority, up to the bell in the tower of the church. But I have another bell, very tiny bell. If I put that next to it, then this is the big bell. So that's really another problem. When we start saying things about things, then we're just comparing. Whatever we say, we'll just compare one thing to another. It's either bigger or smaller, or more light or more dark, more or less red. These are funny things. No? Is it now here hot or is it now cold? Well, for people from India it will be rather cold. For people from Belgium it's quite nicely hot. No, too much. Am I old or am I young? Am I happy or am I unhappy? Whenever you feel unhappy, just think about somebody who feels more unhappy and you'll feel happy. Think about all those people in the world suffering in famines and wars and whatever, depression, boredom. And then you feel, okay, I'm not, in so bad shape. So that's part of the problem. And another part of the problem of our experiences is that they also change so much according to our desire. Like this nice silver bell. People here who don't have such a bell, they will look at it differently than other people here who might have also such a bell, or even one which is a lot nicer. It will change the perspective. The ones who are already having something like that are probably now just not looking at the bell, but looking at something else which they don't have. So our desire very much changes what we look at, what we see. There's millions of things that we see in one day. Millions. But we don't see them all. We just see those things which are interesting to us, which we desire or don't desire, which have some sort of relationship. So that also changes our perspective. It's an economic law. Something becomes valuable if it's scarce, if you don't have a lot of it. And if you have a lot of it, then it's not so valuable. Like diamonds, Well, they're valuable because they're scarce. If the streets would be paved with diamonds, nobody would wear them on a ring or something, If charcoal would be very scarce, we'd put that on a ring. And charcoal and diamonds actually the same. It's just coal, pure coal. Just in diamonds it's very compressed. So it makes it beautiful, shining. There's an understanding why diamonds are a girl's best friend, but it's got to do a lot with the scarcity of it. Our perception also very much depends on our mood. That's also been very well described in science, how our mood affects our senses through neurotransmitters. How somebody who is angry will have a completely different perception, even of a very physical object, like a bell, than somebody who is in a very peaceful mood, or in a very happy mood, or in a very loving mood. That changes perception. Because everything's beautiful. Some artists also play around with that. They take something which most people will think is ugly, and they'll make it into a piece of art to show, there's beauty there also. Like even some really disgusting artists making art with dead carcasses, and if you are emotionally involved, then you see, this as something which used to house a living being, then you can't really look at it and say, oh, beautiful, because you feel, this is revolting. But if you can forget about all that and just look at it peacefully, you will see, oh yeah, even this rotting flesh has many different varieties of colors. Let's not talk about the smells, but so beauty is in the eye of the beholder, very much depending on how you look at it and how you feel. And then the really big problem also with our experience is that we have the illusion that by giving it a name, that by giving things a name, that we actually understand them. Like, again, take the bell. This thing isn't called a bell. I mean, it doesn't know it's a bell, and it's got nothing to do with these three characters, B, L, bell. There's two L's in English. B, double L. Nothing to do with it. I mean, who first named this thing like this a bell? Must have been ages ago. Still, every child at some point, somebody comes and say, hey, a bell. And then the child says, okay, that's a bell. Done with. No, that's a bell. What's next? And that we do with everything. We put the name on it, and then it's classified. No longer really interesting, no longer really important. Well, all these names are just concepts, and there's a definition behind it. Like a bell is something which makes a sound when you move it or something, I don't know, but even there you again have a lot of useless words. A bell is something, that's already a very, very tough concept, which makes a sound. Okay, sound already a difficult concept, and when it moves, okay, but even, we could talk one whole night about each of these three words. What does moving mean? What is sound? And what is a thing? You don't know what all these things are, but we say a bell is a thing which makes sound when you move it, and we are happy. But that's just, to make the child happy, to make it accept, okay, nothing wrong.